Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel. And in our top stories today, of course, a lot of interesting things are about to happen here in Atlanta, Georgia. From the AP, Trump says he will surrender Thursday on Georgia charges tied to efforts to overturn 2020 election. I'm pretty sure that's not the way Donald Trump sees it or the way he phrases it. Former President Donald Trump says he will surrender to authorities in Georgia on Thursday to face charges in the case accusing him of illegally scheming to overturn his 2020 election loss in the state. Now, scheming? Not exactly the way some people would outline it. Can you believe it? I'll be going to Atlanta, Georgia on Thursday to be arrested, Trump wrote on his social media network Monday night, hours after his bond was set at $200,000. Now, a curious little side note that I want to mention here as someone who works in social media is that they never link back to Donald Trump's quotes on Truth Social because, of course, they can't give Donald Trump any sort of credit or credibility on his platform because, of course, they just can't do that. It would be against the rules. It will be Trump's fourth arrest since April when he became the first former president in U.S. history to face indictment. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The establishment uniparty and Democrats are so incensed by the fact that Donald Trump is even running in 2024, much less having been president, that they have broke away from all decorum to go after a former president. Now, I mentioned recently here when Vice President Al Gore questioned and said that he would not recognize what was going on in Florida. But, of course, Al Gore was never indicted. But they are going so far. See, the establishment uniparty was going to make absolutely sure that Donald Trump was not going to win in 2020. Absolutely not. And, well, people are paying the price, for having believed all these things that were said about Donald Trump as though he were a one-dimensional villain. Now, I'm keeping my ear to the ground here since I live here in hot Atlanta. So from Fox 5 here in Atlanta, Georgia indictments. 2 Trump co-defendants surrender at Fulton County Jail. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. That happened on Tuesday, August 22nd. Fulton County, Georgia, Scott Hall and John Eastman, 2 of the defendants in Fulton County's indictment of former President Donald Trump and his allies for alleged illegal scheming. See, now we got a different phrasing. To overturn Georgia's 2020 election results have turned themselves in Tuesday morning. Records from the Fulton County Jail show the bail bondsman and the former president's lawyer surrendered to authorities at the jail Tuesday morning. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is what the left and the establishment and the Trump detractors want to see, and that is the mugshots of Donald Trump. Now, I don't know whether or not they will show mugshots of Donald Trump. We'll get into more of that, but this is part of their show trial, see? The idea here is, and that's why they keep saying things like surrender, because they want Trump to surrender. They want to dehumanize Donald Trump. There's all this underlying information that's going on below the surface that the media and the establishment and the Democrats are just loving every minute of this. So, again, they just can't wait to show Trump's mugshot. And here's Eastman, who was giving an interview here. And so former dean of Chapman University Law School in Southern California, John Eastman, one of Trump's lawyers, was deeply involved in some of his efforts to remain in power after the 2020 election. It's so fascinating to me that that's the way they worded it, because that's exactly the way the Democrats see their current position right now, is they want to remain in power. Law, the process of law and order is not important to them. What's important to them is true, raw power. Because when you have the power, you're above the law in their perception, although they continually say that no one's above the law. But for them, when they have the power, they are the law, just like Judge Dredd would say. But I found it very fascinating what was going on here. We're going to play a clip from the other Fox 5 article here. Trump to surrender at Georgia's Fulton County Jail on Thursday. Now, you see how they all stay on narrative here? Surrender, how they constantly use that framing. Fulton County, Georgia, after receiving his consent bond order from a Fulton County judge, it appears former President Donald Trump will surrender at the Fulton County Jail this Thursday. He announced his intention to turn himself in via his social media, Truth Social. And, of course, again, not linking to it, but showing an image of it here. The perfect phone call, he mentions, refers to a recorded phone conversation between Trump and Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, in which the former president asked Raffensperger to help find the votes needed to overturn his narrow loss to Democrat Joe Biden. And it was very narrow. And I think this was all kind of hyperbole here. And I think that's what is concerning about all this from the perspective of a rational, cogent, sober-minded person, to realize that a lot of this language, a lot of these accusations are sensationalized and exaggerated to create this idea, right, that Donald Trump has somehow fit this profile of a tyrannical person involved in tyranny. And like I said, and like we've always said here on the BuzWeaver channel, this is why hate speech will never be a law, because it's a matter of interpretation. It's a matter of who's going to be in power. It's a matter of who the individuals are that are going to implement and enforce this standard. Because people who don't like Donald Trump are already going to be biased. They're already going to be thinking these thoughts that Donald Trump is guilty, or individuals who disagree with each other are going to say to the other that they are engaged in hate speech to one or the other. So this is just absurd. Now, I wanted to play a little bit of this because it's very important that you guys hear this.
Now, former President Trump says he will be arrested in Atlanta on Thursday. His $200,000 bond conditions include not intimidating co-defendants, witnesses, and others in the community. Fox 5's Brittany Edney is live outside the Fulton County Jail tonight, where Mr. Trump will be processed. And Brittany, those terms restrict him from making threats through social media as well, right?
Yeah, Ross, that's right. It doesn't have to be direct contact. It could be through something like Truth Social, for example. And should a judge find one of his posts to be intimidating or threatening in any way, the former president could be found in violation of his release conditions.
Now, you see that, ladies and gentlemen? You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying here? Donald Trump isn't even going to be able to give an opinion, an emotional reaction to what's happening. It's absolutely astounding. See, so not only is he being indicted, he's being shut down. We've already seen him being removed from social media entirely. Now, he's been restored on these platforms, but this is what we're talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This isn't about rule of law. This is about eviscerating someone. This is about groups of people like the establishment uniparty and the Democrats and Trump detractors trying to destroy Donald Trump, trying to paint him as some one-dimensional villain. It's absolutely extraordinary. And we're going to move on to 11 Alive here, another news agency here in Atlanta. Trump surrendered Fulton County Jail to be in hard lockdown as former presidents get booked. See, again, we're going back to this surrender language and this just general kind of slang language just to make Donald Trump, just to dehumanize the man. Local, state, and national law enforcement are working in conjunction with the Secret Service to protect the former president from his landing to arrival at the jail. And I believe he's driving in. He's not flying in, but however he's getting here. I'm sure he's not going to drive directly all the way from Florida to here, but nonetheless, just the language they use here is just absolutely amazing. In the shadow of the Fulton County Jail, a community watches and waits for its most famous visitor. Former President Donald Trump is expected to turn himself into authorities at the jail Thursday, according to a social media post from Trump himself. And again, no link to his social media platform, Truth Social. A man who only gave 11 Alive his first name, Donald, lives close to the jail. He said he was ready for the spotlight a presidential visit will bring. Now, what's ironic about this is the guy doesn't really talk about the fact about the case at all. He's talking about the traffic, which is hilarious. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, here you have it. It's not about the rule of law, as we've often said. It is political persecution. The very language that I pointed out for you, surrender and booked, and of course, I am absolutely positive they are going to be waiting for this mugshot from Donald Trump if it happens. If it goes through the process, because Fani, which is actually her name, Fani Willis, not Fanny, Fani Willis, is definitely going to throw the book at him, very similar to what 11 Alive was saying here, gets booked. And so he'll go through the process like anyone else that would go there. I think it's going to be a little different because he's a former president. And as I've always said, it would be impossible to imprison a president because of the detail that he has, the security and entourage that these individuals have. So another little point I wanted to make too is that you notice that in all these situations, he's never been remanded to custody. And I think part of that reason is, and a lot of people have discussed this, that he's not remanded to custody because that would be the straw that breaks the camel back. I mean, that would be the ultimate, and the dehumanization that I see that's happening, the persecution of this man is so extraordinary. As I said earlier, the establishment, the Democrats, political figures have sidestepped decorum. They have absolutely just gone out of their way, not even concerned about how terrible it looks for anyone who's, reflecting on this, or an individual like myself who covers this and talks to you guys about this, how extraordinary this is, how unprecedented this is. But this is to illustrate the desperation of the establishment uniparty and the Democrats, who have nothing to offer the American people come 2024. You would think that if they had something tangible, reasonable, rational to contribute to America, to contribute to the American people, they would be talking about that. And they keep saying that Trump can't win. Well, if he can't win, why are you pursuing him like this? We can see that it's political persecution. But I'd like to get your thoughts down below in the comments section. And of course, I want to thank all of you guys on New Tech, as things are really starting to go really well, both on BitChute and Rumble. So thanks for your guys' support there. And of course, all of you watching here on YouTube, that would be the channel icon appearing there on the screen that you can click on to subscribe, as well as notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next video.